I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll discuss a model for working with integers. We have three questions to look into. Question 1 is, show that minus of plus 2 equals to plus of minus 2. And then we'll show that minus of minus 3 is same as plus of plus 3. So in these two, what you see is that when you do minus of something, the sign changes. And based on this, we'll have a solution for how do we evaluate using model plus 2 minus plus 6. In the model, we are going to use circles. The red circle will be treated as positive integer and the blue circle will be treated as a negative integer. We also call them counters. So the red counter will be treated as positive and the blue one as negative. So let's begin with the very first one. So now the question is to show that minus of plus 2 is equal to plus of minus 2. Now with the help of these integers, which are modeled as the counters or circles in red and blue, let's begin with the left hand side. So in our left hand side, we have minus of plus 2. Now, one thing which you should know is zero principle. That is to say, what happens when you add a positive and a negative. Since I am not coloring them, I'll write plus sign for positive and negative sign for negative. So when you add positive and negative, what you get is 0. So that is the zero principle, right? So this combination of positive and negative is actually 0. To any number, if you add a 0, it doesn't really change. 0 is an addition identity. So we could also write this as 0 minus of plus 2. So basically it becomes that from nothing we have to take away two positive things or positive counters if we look into integers as our counters. And zeros, as you see, are combination of positive and negative. So what we can do is that we can write 0 as a positive and negative combination, right? So this is one positive and one negative. So that is 0, right? From here, let's try to take away plus 2. Plus 2 means two positives, right? So plus 2 means two positives. Now, since we have only one positive, how can I take up two positives? Well, the idea is we can add more zeros, right? Because 0 adding doesn't really change anything in our equation. So let's add more zeros. So we add one more zero since we have to take away 2, right? So for me, 0 is a combination of plus and minus, right? So now you can see that I can take away these two counters. And once I do that, what is left with me? It is two negatives are left, right? And that is what we call minus 2, right? So we're left with minus 2. The right hand side is plus of minus 2 means minus 2, right? So right hand side basically is plus of minus 2, which really means two negative counters. So we are left with two negative counters, and that is how we show that this left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So I hope the concept is clear to you. So we'll take up another example to make it absolutely clear. Here is the second example. So this time we have minus of minus 3. And we need to show that this is plus of plus 3. So in the language of counters, let me draw it. Right? So we could do minus of within bracket. Minus 3 really means 3 negative counters. The blue circles, right? Here we have plus of plus 3 means 3 positive. So these circles of red and blue I'm now treating as counters with sign. So we have 3 negative counters on the left hand side with a negative outside, 3 positive on the right hand side with positive outside. What should I do? We can add zeros to the left hand side. So wherever there's a minus outside, you can add more zeros here. Since we have to take away 3 positive, I will add 3 zeros here, right? So 3 zeros literally means what? Combination of plus and minus, right? So combination of plus and minus. 3 of these. You see that? Now from this combination of plus and minus, we are going to take away these 3 negatives. And see what do we get. So if we take away 3 negatives from the combination, we are left with 3 positives, as you can see, right? So we are left with 3 positives. Clearly, this is equal to positive of positive 3. And so we have shown once again that negative of negative integer is in fact positive of positive integer. Now, this is a very, very important concept which we are going to use in subtracting integers. And that brings us to the third question, which in this case is to evaluate using model this concept of change of sign with negative outside brings us to a very important question, and that is how do we subtract integers? So, with question 3, we'll understand the concept of subtraction with integers. Here we have plus 2 minus plus 6. So, since we just saw if there's negative outside, we can make it positive and reverse the sign of the other number. So, this becomes plus 2 plus of minus 6. You get the whole idea. Adding. Now, adding is simpler than subtracting, since in adding, you don't really need all the type of things which you want to take away from. So, I hope you understand this one step. And now we will use the counters. Our counters, while writing, I use the word counter since it is easy to write plus and minus, but in illustrations, we give you circles with colored red and blue. Makes sense, right? So let's do plus 2 plus minus 6, right? So what is plus 2 for us? Well, the plus 2 is these counters 1 and 1. This is plus 2. And to this, we are going to add minus 6, means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, once we have this, we can have zero principle, right? So let's extend it to the right hand side to show you exactly how we are going to do. So we are rearranging. We have these plus 2, right? And to this, we are adding minus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you add, one combination of plus and minus becomes 0, the other one also becomes 0. Right? So these are zeros, and therefore, what are we left with? We are left with 3 negatives, 4 negatives, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And therefore, the answer for us is what? Minus 4. Is that clear to you? So, see, with addition, it is easier to perform subtraction. So, that is what we are going to highlight here. And therefore, you can notice that the title here is to model for integers to subtract. So, whenever in a question we have subtraction, we go reverse the signs and rewrite the statement as plus and minus instead of minus and plus. It's one and the same thing. So, with the help of counters, we can write a number, positive integer with two positives, negative integer 6 with negatives. And when we combine, apply the zero principle. And that gives you zeros for two of these terms from each side, leaving away four negatives, which becomes the answer. So I hope this concept is absolutely clear. Feel free to write your comment, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your valuable time and all the best.